Oh, this is the one that we need to be known for. This is going to be the one. This one tonight.
Oh, is this episode 20 in
Yep.
2020?
Yeah. It's going to suck as much as 2020. I mean, no, it's going to be a great episode. It's going to be the best. We have so many interesting things to talk about.
Oh, hey, we're live.
Things people were dying for us to talk about.
You guys watched anime?
I didn't. I didn't watch any anime.
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch
BJ
any
did.
anime.
I did.
Is-
It's true.
Does that count as anime?
It anime.
Maybe.
Or not.
I don't know.
Maybe.
That's our new
Huh?
segment.
questionably anime. Maybe.
I don't know what the kids consider Japanimation anymore. I can't keep up.
If it doesn't make any sense, it's
Oh,
anime.
this not anime then.
If it makes too much sense,
Not anime.
not anime. I should retweet.
Oh, right. There's Twitter and stuff.
Sure is.
Oh, boy.
I just popped out the chat.
Wow.
I know.
Oh yeah, man.
I'm gonna switch it off top chat to live chat. I'm gonna get all
Pop that
all
chat.
the raw chat.
Yeah.
Pop that chat.
And I'm also gonna hit record.
It's a good idea. I've been doing it for a while now.
Yeah.
Good plan. Solid. So, how was everyone's weekends? He asked, mostly knowingly.
Hey, we played some video games,
We did.
and it was fun. But I got to play of them with you guys.
It is fun. Video games are fun.
It's good to hear Quiplash 3 is coming out, so we could actually do that as a regular segment and not. And we probably have quite a few weeks worth.
Yeah, we could do like a couple of matches.
Yeah.
I should look and see how many episodes there are. Because I know in Quiplash 2, when you're setting it up as the VIP, it allows you to select episodes.
And I seem to remember Quiplash, like the standalone version, had DLCs as well.
Well, I think that's the XL that's in.
Yeah. The one that's in the
Two is
the
already
pack
big
is
one,
the XL. It's Quiplash with all the DLC.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause
So
that-
basically, if we were going to chronologically do it, we do Quiplash XL, then Quiplash 2, and then.
yeah, I don't think
Quiplash,
Vanilla Quiplash ever appeared in a Jackbox pack. I think it was always a standalone game with the DLC, and then they were like,
Really?
"All right, here's it.
Yeah, I could have
here's the
sworn it
XL
was in
version."
the first one, but.
Other
could
way
be
around.
Yeah. What other way around?
Yeah, it was standalone first,
Right.
and then they released a pack. They were like, "Hey, we can make other games too."
Ah. Good plan.
Pretty
Because
good.
I seem to remember the first Jackbox was the return if you don't know Jack. It had Fibbage. Trying to remember what else. I know it. Like those were the only two I think I liked the games on. Like the other ones were like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, the others weren't very good.
I like the dumb drawing one. I think that was in Jackbox too.
Drawful.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. There absolutely is. If you missed the live stream 2 weeks ago and you're not in the Discord, I guess you. Well, I don't know if I posted it in the Discord or tweeted about it, but
You did post it in the Discord.
good. I remembered to do one thing. That's good.
It's some fart. Some fan art.
It is. It's some. Well, it's commissioned art, so I don't know if it counts as fart.
It's a cart. Commissioned art.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where I downloaded those two. There they are.
Do we want to talk about the game thing at all in this, or just save it for a no quitters? I mean, I just didn't. I thought maybe we could bring it up of like, hey, we don't have a ton of content, or it's all weird because this is how we spend our weekends, and just
Yeah, I
that,
mean, I'm fine
yeah.
with that.
like, just
Nothing wrong with cross promotion.
and just say,
Who
hey,
knows? Maybe some people will join in for some Quiplash if we decide to make it a semi-regular thing.
just a thought. Since it's variety hour, I didn't think it had to be strictly movies.
I vote it's okay.
We'll like go into great detail. We'll save that for no quarters, but just hey, we played some things and we might do some more, and you don't need to have the game. All you need is a computer and a smart device, or a thing to play the Twitch app on and a smart device, or one smart device that can do both, like an iPad. I'm sure Androids can too, the tablets wise.
Yeah, I didn't try on my phone.
Yeah, I don't think it does multitasking like that. Split screen multitasking. I think the only split screen
Unfortunately not.
multitasking on the phone is like you can continue to play a video while you're doing other things.
Well, the Twitch app will. Well, I don't know if it does it on iOS because I don't know how iOS handles that sort of thing. But
it might pop out to
at
a
least-
window that can float, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, don't know.
Yeah, I know YouTube will do it. Twitch might do it. I've never had a Twitch video running and then switch to something else. So. Well, why don't we light this candle?
All right.
Do we want to? Who has what?
I've just got 2 random ass movies from iTunes library. They're nothing
I have
anybody
a-
cares about, I'm sure.
6-part Netflix documentary that's a real downer.
Okay. Super.
A Gretzko and a bit of that video game, the high scores Netflix thing. That's it.
Everyone
Like I said.
recording?
I am
Yeah.
for 12 minutes now.
Click.
You're going to have to edit all that out, Chuck. Every ounce of it. All that sweet cookie puss talk lost.
What about you,
forever.
Chuck? You didn't really answer your own question.
Hmm?
You didn't really answer your own question as far as what do you have to talk about?
I have 2 things.
Okay.
I
Like
can go at the end.
new-ish? I mean,
They're both 2000 or 2020 movies,
okay.
but I can go at the end.
All right. All right. We are ready? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
See.
All right, and welcome to the Bamfcast Variety
Hey!
Hour.
Yeah.
Variety
Yeah.
hour.
Number 20. Woo.
20.
Yeah.
Hooray, 20.
20
Finally.
weeks.
We've made it.
Of this thing.
20 weeks worth of 2020 taken up by this.
Mm-hmm.
Hooray.
So I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm so used to Mackie being here.
I
Not
know.
being here, rather. I'm BJ.
Chuck.
Hi, Chuck.
Hi.
That's Chuckles over there, chuckling
How's it
as he
going?
tries to say
Yeah.
his name.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Hey.
So yeah,
So, yeah.
we've got a really weird random assortment of things to talk about this episode because we primarily spent the 3.5, 4 days of our last weekend pretty much just playing video games, mostly, most of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
We got
Hooray.
video game weekend.
Yeah, we decided to do a thing. We talked about it on the other podcast, No Quarters, but I don't know how much we promoted it here. But yeah, it was just we normally go to a retro video game arcade pinball type convention thing once or twice a year, sometimes 3. And yeah, since that can't happen, we were just like, let's pretend we're out of town. You know, don't make any plans. Play games all weekend. Tell the family, tell everyone else, friends, whatever. Nope. I'm not here. Air quotes. So we did that. Which means we didn't consume a lot of other content really. So
Very little content.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we had fun with
Streamed
that.
a lot of games.
Yeah, streamed a lot of games.
Played
Some,
stuff with listeners.
yep. Some of it was just for us, we didn't necessarily stream it. It was just like, hey, we were still playing games, but you could join in if you wanted to. But we just wanted some downtime where we didn't have to feel on to perform. So, we did some offline co-op gaming or not non-streamed co-op gaming and stuff like that. But in the future, we're still trying to figure out the logistics of doing this and how frequently we would want to do it. But one of the more fun things we did was playing some things from the Jackbox Party Pack, specifically Quiplash, with viewers, because you really don't even need another copy of the game. You just need to fire up Twitch, get your smart device, and you can join in. Like, you don't even have to have the game or anything. So, we had
that's super easy to do.
We had some fun with that, and consumed some drinks. Things got a little raunchy, like they do, and
Yeah, and even if you're not part of the actual game itself, one of the first 8, you can still participate by hearing all the good jokes and voting on them.
Yeah, you can join the audience and play along, play the home version of the game.
But yeah, we'll probably be bringing it back sometime in the future when we figure out how and when and how often we want to do it. But yeah, we will probably tweak some things because we had some issues where like we were trying to listen to the game audio, but also party audio. So it was like we were getting weird delay stuff, except for the person who actually was streaming the game. And so we're going to try to switch it over to PC where maybe we have a little more control over, levels and things like that. So
Yeah, I'll say that aside from when one of BJ's streams got raided by a bunch of elite dangerous maniacs, Quiplash was our highest viewed stream by far.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, easily.
So go where the money is.
Well, it was also just fun, and the fact that anyone could participate, because like that was one of the big challenges we had. Was we were like, hey, we think we're going to play this game, and it's like, well, I've got an Xbox, I got it on PS4, and it doesn't have crossplay, or if it does, you can't choose to do crossplay. It's just random crossplay. So we were like, it threw a monkey wrench into a lot of things we were trying to do. So we did a little bit of Friday the 13th on both platforms just to let different people join, I think, and stuff. So yeah.
How did those compare to the movies?
That's not a good game, but it's a fun game.
Yeah.
Like it's really kind of basic. I mean, semi-basic. Like there's not a lot you can do, but there's a kind of a deceptive amount of things you can do as far as like ways to escape and things like that. Like playing a counselor is actually kind of more fun because there's more of a challenge. Like Jason's just like, all right, superpowers, can I hear anyone? No. All right, go over here, look again. Do I hear, and then try to sneak up and murder them. It's like, it's not as much strategy. It's just like, well, I'm super powerful and try to murder the people that are in here. The other ones are like, well, I got to, stealth a little bit, try to do this. And,
So do they give you many ways to impale counselors?
That's pretty much like the unlockable stuff. Yes, like as you get levels, you can buy different kills and also different kills based on which weapon you have. And then there's some environment kills, like if you're near a window, you can fatally just fenestrate somebody. So,
Yes.
which is kind of weird because like you throw them through a window on the first floor, and it's like that would probably hurt a lot. I don't know about death, but maybe with Jason's strength through the glass, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah,
Sweet.
But yeah, we had some fun, and I think the best thing about that is just how good of an homage it is to those movies with the music and sound effects and stuff. It's just like it was made.
The attention to detail is on point.
It was made by fans. I mean, it's just yeah. It's the downside is it was also made by fans. So
double-edged sword.
Yeah.
There.
Is there an unlockable bag head, Jason?
Oh yeah. Like there's pretty much every Jason, and then even some I don't think necessarily exist. Like there's this flaming one that I'm like, is that?
That's one that Tom Savini designed for the game.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Basically, there's no Jason X because I think they got sued before they could complete that DLC. So,
yeah, there was a whole weird thing because I think the guy that like somebody that's like a screenwriter on the first one has like some ultimate copyright power to anything Friday the 13th, and they've historically been a dick about it. So yeah, it's just one of those situations where it's like one bad apple is kind of ruining a franchise because it's like that guy's just like my way, and it's like why can't we have nice things?
About that guy's a weirdo.
Yeah,
like he doesn't think Jason should have ever been the killer, and I'm like, dude, this thing is making a fuck ton of money. The franchise and everything, like how could you not how could you be like, not my vision? Like, dude, just fucking go with it.
Yeah, plus your first movie wasn't that great. Sorry to say.
Yeah,
but anyway,
yeah,
so that's video games. But now on to the weird stuff we did actually watch, I guess.
Right.
Mhm.
Who wants to go?
I vote BJ because his sounds upbeat and more fun than what I watched.
Oh man, it is not.
Oh no!
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you guys remember, but the Netflix series Agretzko, which is based on a Sanrio character that is a shouty red panda. I watched the first two seasons. I really enjoyed them, and the third season has just come out. Like last week, I think it came out, and I actually finished it today. And that's like, if you had asked me up to like Friday, when I got to episode, I think 8, finished episode 7, we'll say, I'd have been like, yeah, sure, it's upbeat, it's actually like, it's inspiring and good. Man, it takes a harsh, dark turn in the last couple episodes that I was like really not expecting, and it's good. Like it's dramatically good, and there are a couple decent comedic moments, but it takes a turn that I was not expecting. It starts out as like a really interesting, like this season starts out as a really like damning sort of look at the way the world currently is, not like necessarily the Rona, but just the way the world is. Like, it's a harsh capitalist hellscape, even without the Rona, and it tackles that in a very Agretzko way, I guess. But it all sort of starts to take this swell, and it hits a point that is really pretty dark. It's not like, I'm trying not to give anything away.
Of course.
So it's not like Stephen King book dark, or twisted horror dark. It's just it just goes down a kind of dark path, and it resolves okay. It feels like it might be a last season sort of thing, but the resolution brings it back up a little bit, but they really hit a dark tone, and it didn't quite recover from that. Although, like I said, I enjoyed it. It was good. It was good drama. It was just not the way I expected a season of Agretzko to go. But if you like that, if you like the first two seasons, you're going to enjoy this. It's just going to be a bit of a different feel towards the end. So be prepared for that. I don't think I can say much more without revealing plot points that I think you should be surprised by, whatever those happen to be. There is one cool thing. There's a new character this season. There's a few new characters this season. One of them is voiced by Sungwon Cho, who is ProZD on Twitter, who does a bunch of hilarious anime related skits, like minute and a half or something skits on Twitter. And he's also a quite prolific voice actor, really funny. But he does a voice on that show, and I was like, a few minutes into the first time I meet that character, I was like, I know that voice. What the fuck is that?
That's every animated everything now.
Yeah, and it sounds like him, but also, he's a good voice actor, so it doesn't quite sound like him. Doesn't quite sound like, his normal voice. It just had enough of his timbre, I guess, to catch my ear, but he does a great job. So if you like him, you should also watch the show. Most of the voice acting is, for the American cast is really, really good. Watch your Gretz go. It's anime, maybe.
Anime.
Maybe.
Anime, maybe.
And
Maybe
maybe not.
There it is.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably the most interesting thing I've watched recently. Other than twitch.tv/NoQuartersNet,
Of course.
the home of video games.
Ding.
I've heard. I've heard that they might play some there.
Sorry, you guys didn't directly plug the channel, and I wanted to sneak it in.
Oh, that's a good call.
By all means.
Stealth plug. Shall you continue, or do you want to defer your time?
I shall pass the torch, and I will jump back in,
Okay.
because otherwise I'll be done talking for the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
Okay.
He will yield his time.
Okay.
Are you still not wanting to get into the dark thing, whatever it is? Okay.
Sure, why not?
Oh, okay.
Jen and I have watched Immigration Nation on Netflix. 6-part documentary about how fucked the U.S. immigration system is. Yeah, it was a good time.
That sounds like fun. Is that what you did for your birthday?
Yes, I marathoned it, and I was like, man, I feel great about my life.
Why are you doing this?
I don't know, because
Every week it's like,
yeah,
I watched this thing where America sucks and everything's terrible. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of ended up like that. I mean,
open a window.
The thing is, it's really well made. Obviously, it also they give you hope. There are point like they aren't all just like, yep, and then he crossed the border and died. You know, it's not all that, or it's not like, hey, she made it, and then they would never let her family enter the United States. You know, there are some successful stories of people who actually have been able to get here and stay here, or get here and then bring their family here. So it's not all doom and gloom, but it's also interesting because they present, they follow ICE agents around, and you get to know some of them. And you also get to know Brian Cox, who is the PR man for ICE, who is just the most lukewarm piece of steamed shit on the planet. If there's one person who just needs to die a painful, horrible death, it's probably him. Because there's a thing where he's like, yeah, well, we get that out there that 91% of the people we arrested are violent criminals. And it's like, yes, that was in 2018. Like, they kind of omit that stat that, oh no, ever since then, we've just started rounding up everybody. Doesn't matter if they have a criminal conviction or if they have a warrant or anything. It's just, oh, you're not legal? Fuck you. We're getting you out of here. You know? And it's basically, it documents how this has been happening since the mid 90s. They have a speech from Clinton about illegal immigrants and how they have to stop them, and, you know, all that bullshit that we've been hearing for decades now. And, you know, and they make a point saying, you know, yeah, it got worse under Trump, but it never went away. It's been here this whole time. And I think the biggest misstep that happens is they don't talk, you know, you keep hearing agents and people on the street and all this other shit where they're like, yeah, I'm all for them coming here if they do it the right way, if they do it the legal way. They don't tell you about the right way, the legal way, until the 5th episode, which is the second to last one, where it's basically under Trump, they shut that down. Like, you get to the border, it used to be you get to the border, you could claim asylum, you would be allowed to come in, you would be, you know, documented in a way so that they knew where you were, you'd have to check in, all that. Now they basically said, nope, go back to Mexico, get yourself on the list, and we'll get back to you. So there's people obviously who've just been sitting on the list for 3-4 years, never made it in. And then there's illegal people who got in and basically have just been sitting in prisons for a year and a half. Not a prison, haven't been charged with anything, but they haven't deported them either.
They've been detained.
Yeah, yeah. And how basically, like, they've, you know, families that got separated. You know, they get into getting some of them back together, but just the logistics of it seem like like the way they did it is just a fucked nightmare. Because it's like, you know, when you got like a 3-year-old, how the hell are you going to track down this kid to reunite them with their parent when you've already sent them to separate cities? You know, it's just, and they talk about obviously the cruelty being the point, that this is supposed to be a deterrent. The things that they did where it used to be easy to get in San Diego, but what they did is they basically funneled everyone out into the desert. So it's like, you know, you cross in the desert and you're fucked. Your life is just, like, it's going to take you days of getting through the desert to get there. And you have to be avoiding helicopter patrols and motorbike patrols and just all that sort of shit. And yeah, it's rough. I'm not going to lie, watching it, it's rough. But the one thing they do is they let basically all these ICE agents hang themselves with their own fucking words. You know, all the bullshit that they say over and over, you know. And there is one guy at the very end who's basically like, yeah, I know the Nazis probably said the same stuff too. And it's like, well, at least you're self-aware about it, guy. You know, but there's some that are just like, man, just, you know, bullies with power now. And they're just laughing at these people whose lives they've destroyed. You know, they've taken away from their wife and kids who are, you know, American citizens. And like, well, yep, shouldn't have come here. You fucked up, you know. And it's just like all this constant cruelty for no real reason, you know. Like there's a woman who brought her granddaughter over because basically the gangs were like, yeah, your 12-year-old granddaughter, she's going to marry my man in a month. We're coming back for her. She's his now. And so and she obviously said, no, you get the fuck out of my house. And they're like, well, we're going to come back and kill you. So she basically took her granddaughter and left that night. And it's this little old lady. And they basically sent her back. Like they talk to her lawyer, they go through the whole process. And eventually the lawyer's like, yeah, they're not required to notify me when they're sending her back. So they put her on a plane at 3 a.m. and fucking shipped her back. And you never find out what happens to her. Like, you know, it's just, it does a very good job of telling you the stories of these people, both the agents and, you know, the people who have come here. And they focus on particular ones a lot, you know, because you can follow their through line and see, okay, here's how they got in. Here's the process they went through. Here's where they were separated. Here's where they got them back together. You know, here's where they are now, all that sort of stuff. So you know, it's something that needs to be seen, I think, in terms of putting a face on these people that we just don't hear about. You know, you just hear, oh, they're illegal, they're aliens, you know, and that's it. And, you know, that becomes the only thing. And, you know, people like us care about people on the border who, you know, want to be reunited with their family because they came here because A, you know, they were going to die if they stayed where they were. They were going to be killed by gangs. Or, you know, B, have no life to speak of there and spent basically their entire life savings to get to the U.S., you know. So it's tough, but it's also hopeful. But go ahead.
Oh, just, you know, or they walked from Honduras, you know, to get to the United States. And like, yeah. All I had to do was be born here, and I didn't even get a choice in that matter. Like, if you choose to walk hundreds or thousands of miles to be an American citizen, that's good enough for me.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, you only ever hear this Brian Cox guy talk about, you know, oh, how many criminals that have come over and all the, you know, these violent offenders that are here in the US. And it's like, you don't meet any of them. The only ones that you even kind of meet is one guy who works for the gangs, where basically the gangs run the whole business of getting people across the border. So they've actually created income for them because they are the only way you can get across the border. And yeah, guess what? You got to pay them 10 grand to get there. And so they're making money hand over fist, just smuggling people into the US, you know, and if they die in the desert, they die in the desert. Oh, well, you know, it's such a completely fucked system. And, you know, it's punishing these people who really have done nothing wrong and had nowhere else to go, you know, but it does, you know, it makes you wonder why they'd want to come here, you know, to be totally honest. It's like, yes, I understand, like it's shit wherever you are, but there's got to be somewhere else you can get to that's not the U.S. because it's been made clear the U.S. is going to treat you like shit, and some of them, like the most infuriating one out of everything, is the episode that deals with military who were military veterans that have been deported.
Right.
So I don't know if it's like they'll let you in the military even if you're an illegal immigrant. But as soon as something happens, one guy had like a pot conviction. He had possession of marijuana, and he got deported to Mexico. And it's like he's like, I was in the Marines for 12 years. I fucking I've killed people for you, you know, in Iraq, and now you're just going to deport me because I had some pot on me. You know, you've basically said, yeah, you lived here all your life, but fuck you, go to Mexico now. That's where you got to go now. You know, so it's just it's a very difficult situation to watch. You know, to put yourself in the shoes of someone who basically grew up here, and then is basically told, yeah, well, you have to go back to Honduras now. You know, because you happen to be at a house where they were raiding for somebody else who had an actual warrant, you know. So that guy was there, so they picked him up, and now he's like, yeah, I don't speak Spanish. I don't know where, I wouldn't even know where to go once I get there, you know. And it's basically they've said, nah, fuck your life. This is it. So yeah, it's a depressing show, but I think it's another one of those things that like needs to be watched to understand just how evil ICE is. And that when a sheriff in North Carolina says, we're going to stop cooperating with ICE, they're not allowed to detain people in our prisons. You know, that's the platform he ran on. So, and he wins, and they immediately just fucking swarm the town with ICE agents. Like, just basically said, we're going to make this as bad as we possibly can for everyone there who might be an immigrant because they refuse to cooperate with us. So it's all bully tactics and bullshit, and you will get angry watching it. And I wish they had shown the futility of trying to do it the right way that everyone says, you know, and all the agents say you should do, because it just shows how big a batch of fucking hypocrites they are every time they say that. And it should have been right from the first episode, just so when every one of them opens their fucking ICE mouths, you know, you go, okay, yeah, you're full of shit.
They're ice holes.
You're full of shit too.
Yes.
Well, even even from like even the like easy immigrants, like people who come here on a visa and then you know apply for residency and then apply for citizenship. It takes 10 years and 50 grand.
Yeah.
To do it the right way. Like, how is anybody supposed to afford that? Like, the few people I know that have gotten their citizenship are basically lucky that they were in a position where they were able to spend the time and spend the money to get their citizenship. Like, we're not a welcoming country. Like, it's not an easy thing to immigrate here or to work here. The H1N, is it H1N? I think it's H1N. H1N visas, those have been drying up for no good reason.
Yeah.
The current administration has been slowing those way down. And those are, you know, there's such a large pool of tech workers and employees in general across the U.S. that are made up of H1N visa workers, and the administration just dries that up like it's, you know, and there's no good reason for it. Like,
yeah,
it's not going to make anybody's situation any better. It's only going to make things worse. And it's inscribed on like this big fucking green statue that everybody practically prays to in this country. It's like Statue of Liberty, flag, guns. That's the triangle of the United States, right? And inscribed at the base of that statue is, you know, bring me your you're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses,
Yearning
and
to
you
be
just-
free.
yearning to be free. Yeah. And we just fucking ignore that
Yeah.
for the sake of being shitty to brown people.
Yeah, I mean that is really what it boils down to. Is you're
I
because
think, I think that's
they
actually
don't-
it's funny if you take one word out of the entire inscription on the Statue of Liberty, yearn. The people that are making this policy and have these anti-immigrant things have never yearned for a thing in their life. They
Yeah.
don't know what that concept is. I mean, like to need, to want, not to beyond want, like to need to continue to live. You know, like I've never had that situation. You know,
Yeah, and it's it shows how when you get a system that big that's that broken, it becomes easy to justify your little evil cog in the machine. To be like, oh man, I used to not have to I used to only arrest violent criminals, but now I have to bring all of them in because that's my job. And it becomes just, well, that's my job. That's the guy upstairs said I got to do it. So, and it becomes easy to be like, yeah, well, sorry, I got to take this mother and father away from their child, but that's my job. And it just, you hear that a lot throughout that whole thing that, well, I didn't make the rules. I just enforce them. And it's like, yeah, well, if the rules are fucked, you're still part of it.
How did that defense work at Nuremberg?
Yep. Yeah. But it is funny how strategically they deploy like civil rights lawyers and other activists in the editing, as far as like, an ICE agent will say this, and then the civil rights lawyer will be like, yep, that's pretty much a standard response, a dehumanizing response to this, because they can't, they can compartmentalize their little bit and they can go home and feel fine about it because, well, I didn't do the really bad part. That was somebody else, and they just, they do that a lot. And there's so much corruption on every level that I didn't even get into a whole other thing with wage theft but they cover a ton of stuff in that 6 hours. And the majority of it is infuriating, but there are awesome people in this country that are fighting it. And that's the best part, is watching this one girl in North Carolina who just follows ICE around, broadcasting their stuff to Facebook all day long and asking them, and yelling at the people, you don't have to answer any of their questions. You have the right to ask for a lawyer. She's like shouting all this in Spanish, and she just follows ICE around all day doing it. And I'm like, this girl is my fucking hero. So there are good people in this as well. It's not all misery and suffering and America sucks. There's plenty of good people here, and they do get showcased in that show as well. But yeah, it was fun. Good times.
Sounds like it.
Cool.
Hey, it was better than watching The Hobbit.
I can agree. Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Sick burn.
Yep.
while we're talking about documentaries, just real fast, I've watched the first 3 episodes of The Vow, the new series that's on HBO about the Nexium cult thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm starting to sense a pattern in HBO documentaries. It sounds like maybe perhaps the Netflix one suffers a little bit from this too, but that documentary is like very strangely produced, because the entire first episode, it's just like, oh, all right, this is some new age bullshit. This is a little weird, but all right, seems harmless enough. And it's not until like the very end of this entire, and these are full hour long episodes. It's not until like the very end of the second episode before it like gets into the what the fuck, level of like, what the fuck is actually happening here. And it's like, it just keeps going on and on. Like, I don't know. I'm crying and I'm sad and I don't know why. And it's like, I don't know why either. Cause I mean, I heard about this, but not a lot, I didn't like dive into the minutia of this whole thing when it came to light. So I'm relying on this documentary series to tell me about it. And it's like, it's not until episode 3 where it's like, all right, now we're into the sex cult branding, weird shit. Like what the fuck is happening thing. And it's like, wow, you tracked that out for a while. Like for a while, I'm just like, yeah, this is weird, but seems, semi harmless enough, other than like a, people's meaningless struggle to find meaning in life. Like, here, take some money, tell me what life is about. People will always fall for that. In whatever form, you know. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's a strange documentary. Like I'm now compelled to keep watching, but I was like getting to the point where I was like, are you gonna tell me like why or how this is bad eventually? Because like right now you're not really doing it. You know, it's odd, just not bad yet. And then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now we're in criminal territory. Gotcha. Okay, yeah. Like before it was just like, yeah, I could see how you could get away with this, and it's just kind of, you know, just seems like a scheme, you know. And then it's like, oh, all right, now it's evil. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah. It's all right. I mean, it's just
How
it's
many
weird.
episodes are there going to be?
I honestly don't know. Like, it's one of those I haven't looked to see like how many it's going to be total. Yeah. I mean, in a way, like McMillions kind of felt like that, where it's just like, you're like, get to like the connective tissue. Like, you've set this up for far too long. Like, tell me something. You gotta like, you know, there's only so much you can like keep my attention without giving me anything, like little crumbs, you know, to tell me what the fuck this is actually about. You know, like some of these things I'm just saying, like maybe they don't need to be 6-8 part things, you know, like get to the meat a little faster, you know. Just yeah, I don't know. Like McMillions
content.
seemed like it went on a little too long, like especially the way it's just kind of like a yeah, all right, here's how it happened, you know, like ending thing where it's just like you could have said that.
McMillions,
You
like,
could have said that 2 hours ago and it would have been fine.
Yeah.
yeah,
When they-
McMillions had me up until like the last episode,
Yeah.
and then the last episode is just like, yeah,
Yeah, here's how they did it. Not that big a deal. Anyway, bye.
Yeah, you figure that last episode is going to be a fucking Ocean's 11 heist,
Yeah.
and it's just, oh, he bothered this lady, and
Yeah.
she looked the other way, and he stole the pieces. Oh,
Pretty much. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah. As far as like other things I actually watched, unless you want to go, Chuck. No.
Nah, not yet.
All right. Well, as I said, I think last episode, I needed to get back to my let's mine my random iTunes movies that I happen to own thing. So I did that, and it was weird because like you know me, I tried to find patterns where there probably aren't any. So the first thing I watched, and you're gonna go like, all right, I had never seen the movie I Love You Man, but yet I had it, the one with Paul Rudd and Rashida Jones and Jason Segel.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Paul Rudd's
I
like
saw that in the theater.
yeah, Paul Rudd's the
On
guy
the
that's like
date.
getting married and like realizes he doesn't have any guy friends really, you know.
Yes.
And it's just
Yeah.
like, oh, well, who's going to be your best man? He's like, and just like goes on a series of adventures to find a friend. And I don't know, it's a cute movie, sort of. I mean, it's not life changing. It doesn't really have any deeper meaning. In fact, actually, if like you really break it down, it's kind of a shitty message when it's all said and done. In a way, like it's just kind of strange because like clearly the point of it's like a reverse romantic comedy, and it's almost in that realm of like what I was saying I want romantic comedies to be, which is like here's a person that possibly has problems and needs to fix themselves, not be changed by the other person to fit into the mold that they would like them to be. You know, that's the thing I hate, where it's just like, oh, he could be so perfect if only he was completely opposite everything about him. You know, and it's like maybe find somebody who's already there and not disrupt this guy's life or whatever. But this is like, you know, he's kind of broken in a way, just in terms of like he doesn't know how to deal with men or have male friends or whatever, and he's a little uptight and all this, but it's like they go a little hard and like here's how you need to loosen up a little bit. Like I get that, like you need to loosen up and maybe not take things quite so seriously, but they give him a guy who's just like, well, he's not a role model. Like this isn't like, you shouldn't want to be this guy. Like he's the guy who's like walking his dog down the Venice boardwalk, just letting him shit everywhere, not picking it up. It's like, this is not the direction you need to go with your life. Like, you know, like maybe loosen up a little bit, but also don't be an asshole. Like there's a fine line. Like it's just, it's a weird thing. And it's like, it ends up
Maybe
kind of
they
being
needed to help each other.
yeah, a little bit, but they don't really kind of get there completely. Like, you know, like
know.
all it really sums up at the end is like, without spoiling it, I mean, spoilers, you know, he makes a friend and they get married, you know, like, I mean, nothing shocking happens by the end of that movie, but like, he has a speech at the end. It's like, yeah, you called me out on some of my bullshit and that helped. And it's like, does that mean you're a better person now? Like, you know, like just being called out on it is probably not going to change who you are. It's just, the big things I will say about it is I did not expect the sheer number of comedy people to show up in it that do. Like, it's just like, oh shit, you called in the entire cast of the state, and you know, like every other like Upright Citizens Brigade people are there, and it's like every comedy person ever is like showing up somewhere in that movie. It seems like it's just it's really weird to go back and watch. Just like, oh shit, it's Aziz Ansari and this guy, and like there are all these people in the background. Andy Samberg's his brother, like all this stuff. So yeah, it's fine. Like
They go see Rush.
huh? Yes,
go
they do.
see
They
Rush.
they do go see Rush. There's a lot of Rush in that movie.
Well, there's a little too much Rush in that.
Yeah. So, but as I was scrolling down, I was like, well, this is kind of a romantic comedy, but it's also kind of a bromance more than like, he and Rashida, like Paul Rudd and Rashida Jones are fine. Like they have like a brief,
Yeah,
like,
they are.
well, I was saying like, yeah, Rashida Jones is amazing, but and so is Paul Rudd. But like they have like this mild spike of like, oh, we had a mild fight, and it's like, yeah, that's resolved like a day later. So like, there's really no romantic comedy tension things are there. It's all this like bromance thing between Paul Rudd and Jason Segel. So on the semi-reverse side of that, as I was perusing my movies, I decided to kind of kill two birds. I thought maybe I didn't know anything about this movie, but I thought maybe it was going to be like a lady mance, a womance,
Romance. There you
womance.
go.
Yeah. And I watched and can never remember which name is first, but it's Julie and Julia. It's Nora Ephron's last movie. Somehow was in my fucking iTunes library.
Right.
That is a weird ass movie. Basically, in terms of like, they took two books and made one movie, because it's like half of it is
Like the Bible.
yes, just like the Bible. Check. Basically, half of it is a quasi biopic about Julia Child, and
Yeah.
played by Meryl Streep. So I also watched another
Hey,
Meryl
all
Streep
right.
movie. So that's why I was like, I'm going to kill two birds. I was like, I own a Meryl Streep movie I've not seen. So not one of the good ones, really, but like, sorry. I mean, I'm not going to shit on Nora Ephron. Just
I'm sure
hold
she
up,
was up for an
hold up.
Oscar for that.
Probably. But yeah, so it's like this biopic with her playing Julia Child and Stanley Tucci as her man, husband, and like, so like there's this period piece documentary, and then on the flip side, it's like it's Amy Adams in 2002, because it's like she's working for some government agency that's responsible for like post 9/11 calls in New York. So like she's just living this awful, like, everybody's calling and crying or angry or whatever all day, and just goes home and starts like cooking to relax, and then sets up this self project of like, I'm going to go through Julia Child's entire cookbook in 1 year and make like 548 recipes or some shit, and just start this blog, and that's going to give me a reason to live and get through this shit, because like she wanted to be a writer and then just ended up in this like office job. So it's like you've got these two completely divergent movies like happening simultaneously, and they don't really ever really come together. Like, I mean, it's not like at the end it's like, hey, she met Julia Child, and woo, like here she is, like here's Meryl Streep in super old lady makeup, or something like that. But yeah, it's fine. It's a Nora Ephron movie. I mean, I don't have anything against the late Nora Ephron at all. I'm just saying, like, you know what you're getting. I mean, for the most part, it's like, this is popcorn level, confectionery stuff. I mean, it's just like, yeah, that's sweet, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. Like, I'm starting to. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to preface this statement with, I am hardly an expert. I have admitted the lack of Meryl Streep movies I've seen in my life, but based on the ones I'm seeing, I do not understand it, because I'm saying I do not understand her appeal. And I will say this because, like, everything I've seen her in, she is breaking the cardinal rule of being an actor, which is don't look like you're acting. You're just supposed to be natural. And like, so many times, like, it's a thing I heard somebody say, it was like, you watch the movie Rain Man, and everyone's like, oh, Dustin Hoffman is doing a thing and give him an Oscar. But it's like, no, Tom Cruise is actually doing better acting, because he just seems like a guy who's having to deal with this situation, and it's more believable. Like, you don't look at him and go like, hey man, Tom Cruise, way to act. It's just like, he's just there and seems believable and has to deal with Raymond, and it's like, the other guy, it's like, look at him acting, it's like, it's Dustin Hoffman, but he's doing a thing. And that's everything I've seen with Meryl Streep so far. It's like, you're doing a thing, and it's clearly like, it doesn't feel natural. I mean, granted, I would go back. Speaking of Nora Ephron, maybe I should go watch like Silkwood or one of her first movies, like, like when when Meryl Streep was good. You know, like I'm not going to judge Meryl Streep on like latter day, like I'll show up and do a thing. Yeah.
Do you think it's a thing like how Jack Nicholson became, where it's like, we got you because you do this?
A little bit, but I mean, she's still clearly like especially in this, it was like she was clearly like thinking she's like getting into this role, and it's like, no, you're just doing a weird voice, you know, like, you know, I'm doing a child voice, you know. It's like, okay, great, fantastic.
Like Julia Child, but spooky.
Yeah, that's Julia
I
Child.
mean, Julia Child is a weird voice.
Yes, I know,
to be fair.
because she's
Like,
American. That's the weird thing. I always thought she was British, and that movie starts, and it's like, you know, I was like, I really don't know much about Julia Child. And I was like, she's fucking American with that weird voice. I was like, like what part of America had that voice ever? Like, yeah, I don't know. I guess she just lived all over Europe, so she just probably had a weird accent from her. You know, her husband was like worked for the, you know, State Department, so like went from embassy to embassy. That's how she ended up in Paris and found her love for French cooking.
Pieces of accents all over the world.
Maybe, yeah.
Brought them home and was like, woo!
This is my voice now. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. It's fine. Like it was just it was a thing. It was a little too long for like that kind of movie, you know. Like, but then again, it's 2 movies, like, and it has this weirdest like text crawl at the end. It's like it's talking about what the author lady who wrote the blog, and then of course, you know, immediately like, oh, you're popular, you write a book, you know, and all, you know, gain some fame after the thing, and like the very last thing, it was like, and her story was made into a movie. I'm like, no fucking shit, it was. Like I just sat here for 2 hours watching it. Like,
Which movie?
for half a second, that's what I did. I was like, what movie?
She
She
watched
made
that.
another
Oh,
movie.
wait, you meant this. Shit. By the way, Meryl Streep nominated for an Oscar
for
for
that.
Julie and Julia.
Of course, yeah.
But I do miss that era of like, you know, the 2000s where it was just, I'm going to do a dumb thing for like a year and I'm going to write a blog about it. And somehow it's going to become a book deal and all this other shit. Like that well is gone.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's, you know,
Yeah.
you'd be like, I'm going to only watch movies from 1990 for a year and I'm going to do a podcast about it.
That's
and then
fucking
nobody cares.
stupid.
Literally nobody cares.
Who would do such a stupid fucking thing?
I bet
I
if
know.
you told somebody about it, literally anyone about
Nope.
it, somebody might give a shit.
Nope. It would have had to have been 2014 or earlier. That's the only time it would have worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it in
Fuck
2015. You're a fucking idiot. Like you're killing yourself for no reason.
Yeah. Coincidentally, I want to point out that, like, you know, BJ loves to introduce Sandra Bullock as my future wife or ex-wife, Sandra Bullock.
Ex-wife, yeah.
Future ex-wife, yeah.
Yeah, whatever designation that you're somehow going to meet Sandra Bullock, marry her, and then decide to divorce her for whatever reason.
I'm not going to decide to
No,
divorce her. No,
she's going to decide to
She's gonna
divorce
wise
you.
up.
let
Gotcha.
me be perfectly
Okay.
clear.
Okay.
I am
Gotcha.
going to manage by the greatest luck of my entire life and probably using up my future generations of luck
Mm-hmm.
to fool her into thinking that I'm worthy of marriage. And then she will wise up real quick and divorce me and possibly have me killed.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you
Which
were
I will
sleeping.
deserve.
Sorry, wasn't that her in that movie? While you were sleeping, isn't that
Yes.
her? Yeah. She's going to have me murdered, and I said while you were sleeping.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said all that to say, like, I would go ahead and I'm not sure I'm entirely with your plan because you always just kind of said that. This is the first time I've heard the back meeting of your future plans with Sandra Bullock. But I was going to throw my hat that I would say, you know, I would like to refer to Amy Adams as my future wife or ex-wife. I'm just going to go ahead and put that on paper. Yeah.
I mean, it's not a
All right.
machination. It's just what's going to happen.
Sure. Okay. Fair enough.
Yes, on a long enough timeline, in a number of infinite universes, there is one that exists where that happens.
Yeah. I would put Rashida
might be
Jones on
this
that list too, because you know how fucking cool it would be to date and or marry Rashida Jones, because like just in that one beautiful package there's so much history there. You know, she's the daughter of Quincy Jones and, you know, the Mod Squad lady. I mean, that's fucking cool. I'm just saying, like, you know, like how much history is like in that person. She's fucking like has led like a rad life, you know?
Yeah.
Like she's
You
just
should
been
marry
around.
her for some stories.
I'm saying, like, you know, you would never run out of things to talk
Marry her
about
so
with
you
her.
can hang out with her dad. Be like, dude, Off the wall, am I right?
Yeah, like seriously, like it would be. She would dump me within a week because I'd just be like, "Holy shit! Can you tell me about this? What about the time you met this person? Tell me about that story."
I'm pretty sure that's why Nick Cage and Lisa Marie got divorced, because he was just like, so, what was Elvis's dick like, huh?
Wait, she's his daughter, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just clarifying there.
That's why they broke up, because he pushed it too far.
All right. Yeah, I'm just saying, Rashida Jones is fucking cool. Like it's like there's a lot of history in that awesome lady. Yeah.
It's just weird to want to marry someone for stories.
Not really.
Not really. That's fucking cool. Like I mean, how many other people have like that? Like has lived the life and met the people that lady has met? Not many. Like I mean, she was probably like a little girl hanging out with like all these like Motown people, like cool people and shit. Like that's rad.
Probably right. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yep.
that's the weird random ass movies I watched.
Okay. Am I the only one left?
I reckon so.
Okay. I watched some spooky movies.
Congratulations.
I watched some new spooky movies.
Nuki movie.
Spooky movies.
Yeah.
Which ones?
I'll go in release order. I watched 2020's The Grudge. They
That was
remade The
this
Grudge.
year.
They
Yeah.
did that this year?
It came out in January.
Huh.
I didn't even know that came out.
No, I knew it was out. I just thought it was
How
like
was
sometime
it?
last year. Yeah.
Yeah, they dumped that shit in January, and there's a reason they dumped it in January. It fucking sucks.
Aw.
So
Did you like the original Grudge? Well, there's the Japanese Grudge, and
I've
then
never
there's
seen
the
the-
Sarah Michelle Gellar Grudge.
Right. I've never seen the original Grudge trilogy.
Okay.
I have seen.
It's called the Grillogy. Thank you very much.
I have seen the 3 initial American remakes. I love the Sarah Michelle Gellar original remake a lot. I really, really like that. The 2 sequels are trash, and this is kind of trash too.
so is it just another straight remake, or is it like a continuation in some weird way?
It's weird because it wavers back and forth between 2004 and 2006, and they kind of hint that it's still related to the original Grudge remake.
Okay.
But it's basically there's a lady who comes out of the original house at the beginning and says, "I'm sad, I'm coming home," and goes to just the Midwest to hang out with her family, and it's Grudge in a different house. And it's a bunch of just terminally sad people throughout the entire movie getting grudged. It's just they all have
Oh, so they really are terminally sad.
yes. Well, they all have some horrifically tragic backstory. So they're just in every scene they're sad, and then suddenly they get grudged. It's just they go into the house and it's like, whoops, grudged, and it's like you brought the grudge home with you, and now your kid got grudged, and
That's a lot of grudging.
it's just
They be grudging.
it's so pointless. I understand you own a property and you're like, hey, maybe we should get that going again. But there was no idea. The only idea in this thing seemed to be, what if we remade The Grudge again, but really, really, really made it an American remake instead of just put a couple of American actors into the Japanese situation. And it doesn't come up with any kind of lore or anything. It's just like, you've seen The Grudge, you know what's happening here. They're getting grudged. And it's like, okay, that sucks. It's lousy. It's loud and obnoxious, and everyone's sad, and it's lousy. So,
Well, thank you for the Grudge report.
sure.
Yeah.
I think the
God
best.
damn it.
No, actually, I actually do want to ask. Did you ever watch the? Is it Rings? Was the last thing from the Ring
Yes,
universe?
Rings was the most recent Ring.
Did you watch
movie.
that?
I have not seen
Okay.
that. So,
I was just
I'm-
curious how that went. Like, if that's like part of the Naomi Watts Ring universe, or
ain't
what?
nobody ever talked about that movie. Like, I
okay.
constantly, like, when I see it, I'm like, oh, right.
Rings.
It's
Yeah.
like that Mummy movie. It's like the one with Jet Li. It's like, oh, yeah, they made that, huh? This Grudge is going to be that. It's going to be like, oh, right, they made another one of those.
Hmm.
I already did that. That's what I did when you said that.
Yeah.
Like I knew it existed.
oh.
I thought it was like it just seemed further away long ago. Like I don't know.
Mm-mm. No, well, yeah, everything seems long ago.
Yeah, I didn't.
That movie came out in theaters.
Hmm. Oh, what were those?
and people could have gone to see it there. They didn't. So then I watched the remake of Fantasy Island, which I believe, Harlow, you've talked about.
I did.
Christ, what? I mean, I am totally on board with the idea of, if you're going to remake Fantasy Island, make it a spooky thing, because like a regular ass remake of Fantasy Island, who gives a shit? Because that show isn't, you can't do that as a movie, for one, and for two, like, who cares? It's that whole notion of like the Love Boat and Fantasy Island, where, you know, celebrities show up and their wishes are granted, and then they go off on adventures. Like, who, that could never happen. Television doesn't work like that anymore. So yeah, they made a spooky version of Fantasy Island that is just straight garbage, and
like I thought it was a little better than that. I mean, I don't know. It's like not. I think if you divorce it from Fantasy Island, I don't think it's like total garbage.
Well, see, so here's the problem. Like, for 90% of that movie, it could have just been called Spooky Island. It could have been called anything. They didn't have to get the bits where they have to tie it into the Fantasy Island lore are the worst parts of it. Mm-hmm. But they come up with this story about how they come up with lore for the island as to why things are happening, and it's I don't need that, and it's dumb. And the way all the stories in the movie intersect is super obvious. You could see it coming a mile away. You're just like, oh, that's going to happen, and that's how this person, that's that. And then every little mini story that they're telling just makes you think of something else. The entire time you're like, oh, this is that movie Frequency, or oh, this is Lost. You will say, oh, this is Lost a bunch of times, because it is super duper Lost on many occasions. When they start getting to the point where people are in flashbacks and all interacting with one another, I'm like, okay, Lost. Stop it. There are some superfluous characters in this who are like, hey, Michael Rooker's in this. Oh, nope, Michael Rooker's no longer in this. Why was he in this? I don't know. See ya, Michael Rooker. It's, man, the beginning of 2020, as far as horror movies go, did not start well.
Invisible Man's pretty good.
Sure, I haven't gotten there yet, but
Okay.
But yeah, just like for like major studio releases like The Grudge and Fantasy Island, it's like, no, neither of those.
Well, it's not the time of year they put out the good ones, really, generally speaking. I mean, you know, the beginning of the year is not when it's like horror movie rich with the good ones.
Yeah, but every once in a while they figure, like, what if we throw one of these out in February and it makes $100 million? Because that happens every so often.
The Invisible Man, they did that. It was like,
yeah,
hey, this is a good movie.
Yeah. So yeah, both of those are bad. I also watched a movie called Billy Frankenstein, which of course is fucking trash. It's a Fred Olen Ray kids movie.
Oh, that sounds
Billy
great.
Frankenstein. It's just fucking trash.
How does it compare to Yo Frankenstein?
It has a smaller budget.
Is Aaron Eckhart in it?
No, he is not.
Is there a Billy Frankenstein's monster?
Sort of.
Okay.
Yeah, who's Billy Frankenstein? Explain to us his relation to the Frankenstein family.
So Billy Frankenstein's dad works too much, but it turns out they are related to the actual Victor Frankenstein's, and are the last living heirs. So they inherit some estate, and there's some scheme that the town wants to take the Frankenstein estate, but also the monster's out there, and he needs to be revived, and only the Frankensteins can do it. And it's just a dumb kids movie. I'm just always amazed at the opposite ends of the Fred Olen Ray spectrum of just banal kids crap and just tits galore. Like how he makes these two totally different movies, sometimes on the same set. Like, I've seen this house in other movies that have tits in them, and I'm like, you should not be filming kids movies here. Like right over there by the fireplace, there were titties everywhere.
It's like the opposite of Sacred Ground.
Yes. It's just like, I hope you wipe down everything in that house, because there were just fucking tits everywhere.
I mean, tits don't really contaminate anything.
I'm just
their presence. I mean, you know, kids are generally big fans of them, especially the small ones. You know, like They need
No,
them to.
It's
for
just
food.
weird. When you recognize the staircase that two people simulated fucking on and the kid's sitting on it, you're like, hey, no, don't sit there, kid.
All right.
Butts were there. Naked butts. Yeah. So anyway, it's garbage. All three of those movies are garbage. Don't watch any of them. This is why I don't talk about movies on the show, because they're all trash and I can't recommend anything. It's
That's
all
because you're not
everything
watching the
sucks.
good ones. We tell you good ones to watch, and you're like, I don't. I want to watch garbage.
There was no reason to believe that The Grudge and Fantasy Island would be total trash. I find Blumhouse movies to be good, and I like some of the Grudge movies, and I figured, obviously, they have an idea for this, otherwise they wouldn't have made it. So I thought, give it a shot, and it sucked. So. That's all I got.
All right. Did we do it? Do we make an episode?
Yeah, I think we made an episode.
Okay.
Sure.
I have decided that I'm going to hold off on judgment of high scores until I can maybe finish the first episode and then watch another one. So,
That's
not promising, but
You
but I'm going
never
to give it
know.
a shot. It might get better. There's some interesting stuff in the first episode, like some interesting facts, and learning some history of a couple specific people is really interesting. But so far, it's got a presentation that just bothers me. There's something about documentary filmmaking in this year / the last few years that is, I don't know, the style is wearing on me. So I think that's it.
Is it overproduced?
Maybe, yeah. Like, sort of like we've all watched like The Toys That Made Us. At least
Yes.
some of that. Like that
Those
style.
are overproduced.
That style is. It's just there's something about it that's too much, and I can get by if it's something that's really interesting. Like the Toys That Made Us was really interesting, but fuck, man, I grew up with video games. I've heard so much shit about video games in my entire life that you got to make it really, you got to make it really worth my time.
I just call my
so
uncle,
far.
man. He works at Nintendo. He tells me everything I need to know.
Yeah,
Yeah, like how to get the Master Sword and Zelda and stuff, and like the secret codes so you can play as Zelda.
oh yeah, yeah.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is Paul Scheer interviewed in that one?
So far, no. Thank fuck. If he shows up, I am going to delete it from Netflix.
Okay.
Whatever.
I
that
will say,
takes.
he does not show up in Immigration Nation.
Well, that's a relief.
Yeah.
Did he show up in the Grudge?
No,
Did he get grudged?
Oh, he doesn't get grudged?
He does not get credit.
That's a shame.
I didn't get a chance to sneak this in while you were talking about The Grudge, but
Uh-huh.
the best thing about The Grudge is the verbing of the word grudge, like someone getting grudged. Just
Yeah. I mean,
But you
it's,
know exactly what I
it's-
mean when I say
well, you,
that.
you either
It's
get
like,
grudged or you get
absolutely.
ringed.
I just got grudged.
You know? Like, you're watching TV and you get ringed. Like somebody comes climbing out of your
Exactly.
TV.
It's the same.
Yeah.
You know
Exactly.
exactly. Oh,
you get
got ringed.
Jason, you get
Yep.
ringed, you
Yep.
get grudged. Yeah, it's all hilarious to me.
Good.
I love it.
Glad I provided that for you.
I was trying so hard not to just cackle while you were talking about it, because you said grudged like 8 times within the span of a minute and a half.
A lot of people
It
get
was-
grudged.
It was killing me.
All right, I got one totally random thing
Oh,
that I have to drop here.
Okay.
Not even a thing I watched, but Letterboxd. I found like a Star Wars Episode 2 defender who got in a huge argument with me and Oob is his name. OOB used to be, I guess, Ubawa. Anyway, like he's one of those people I only know on Letterboxd, but I know he listens to the show. I need him to email me because I have to talk about this. And I didn't want to have the conversation on Letterboxd because then this idiot would keep responding to it and telling us how like our takes are garbage and we're worthless people because we made fun of Episode 2.
Wait, so there's
email me. Yeah.
so there's 3 people in this story. There's you,
Yes.
the idiot, and Oob.
Yes.
Okay.
So
all right.
Oob's on
Oob
your
and
side
listener.
in that episode
Yes.
2 sucks.
Ubis the listener wrote a scathing review of episode 2.
Okay.
And then this guy responded and told him how he was a garbage person and his review was garbage. And then me and another person were just like, who the fuck are you? What are you talking about? Like, episode 2 is not like some feminist masterpiece. What the fuck are you talking about, guy? Yeah, his review's out there. And yeah, I was told I need to read all the other positive reviews of episode 2 to understand why it's not garbage and it's actually a masterpiece. And I'm like, okay, sure. Either way, I need Oob to email me because I need to talk to him about this. I need to have a private conversation, and Letterboxd is not a place for that at all, unfortunately.
Well,
because it's like a double-edged. Sorry, no. What do you? Go ahead, please.
I was about to launch into the outro. That's all.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, you will in a second. But either way, like Letterboxd, you can't like. It's a blessing and a curse that you can't private message people there. Because thank God people can't private message me because thank God. But it's also like, like you can't block people. You can't like, there's a lot of features I feel like they need.
Yeah. Blocking people would be most welcomed.
Yeah. Yeah. But there are times where I need to email this person privately because holy shit.
I mean, I honestly would be okay with Letterboxd if like you got to log in and just be like, put it in diary mode. I just want to keep track of my shit. I don't give a fuck what anyone else thinks about anything.
Yeah,
like I just want to have like a quick and easy way to log what movies I'm watching, and if I want to venture.
Can you make an account private? I guess not.
Well, I'm just saying, like like I don't want to like click on a movie and see other people's opinions. I just want it to go in like full on diary mode. Like you don't need to see my stuff. I don't need to see your stuff. I just want it to be a film diary with all the relevant information already plugged in for me.
I believe there's a diary page.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But still, you have to go there.
Right.
As opposed to it just being the front page. It's a social site, so you need the ability to block people, and you need the ability to filter some shit out, because otherwise it turns into every other fucking nightmare garbage social site there is.
It's getting there because, man, I am so tired of reading. I'll watch some movie that was obviously filmed for $12 on a VHS camera, and people are like, 5 stars. The mastery behind this is just, and I'm like, man, fucking launch this person into the sun. I don't want to read your trolling, ironic bullshit about something someone filmed in their fucking garage in an afternoon and somehow made its way into the IMDb and on Letterboxd. And I'm a paying paying members should have those features. Like at the very I give Letterboxd money because I'm like they are providing me with a service that I use all the time. But also I'm like, what am I getting for this money besides a little badge that says I pay Letterboxd money? I'm a fucking idiot.
The only thing is you can filter your incoming thing to not have like, oh, they liked this review, all that.
Right.
Like you can't do any of that if you're just a regular plebe. But anyway,
treat.
Oob, email me. BJ is about to tell you where you can email me.
If you are Oob and you would like to email Mackie, you should email us at bmf@bmfcast.com. If you are a listener and you would like to email us about something else, bmf@bmfcast.com. If you would like to just visit the website and see what we're up to, just go to bmfcast.com. There are a whole bunch of buttons on the right-hand side that will tell you what we're up to.
Most of the time.
Including the socials, link to Discord, all that good stuff. If you would like to express your... What?
Bamfcast hotline.
Yeah, I'm getting there. Thanks. Appreciate it. I've only been doing this 85 years. Had to take a breath.
It's only been 20 weeks. That's it.
If you would like to express yourself with language in a vocal manner, call the Bamfcast hotline, 9105-JOCKS-BMF or 910-556-9263. Talk to Garfield.
Yeah.
And he will relay your thoughts to us.
If you want to give us a little oral, call the Bamfcast hotline.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, that really threw my train off.
Yeah, you started thinking about blowies and shit.
I did. Thinking about all the listeners who want to suck us off. I mean, that's not feasible in these Rona times, but what's almost
Oh,
as
don't
good
worry.
as
You could stay
blowjobs-
6 feet away from me. It's no problem.
What's almost as good as blowjobs is money. So you can give us money at patreon.com/bamcast.
Please blow our wallets.
Yes.
Blow your wallets into our wallets?
Yes.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Let's rub our wallets together and see what happens.
Right. Oh.
Right.
Shove
Your
your money
wallet
tongue.
with our Patreon.
Yes.
Shove your money tongues into our wallet buttholes.
Right.
Is that the thing that I said all those years ago?
Still a thing that exists.
It's
Hey,
definitely
kids.
getting grudged right there.
Yeah, that's definition of getting grudged.
But anyway, patreon.com/bmfcast. It helps pay the bills.
We appreciate it. And you
Yes,
get extra stuff.
We very much do. We show our appreciation by giving you extra content.
All right. Well, let's get out of here, shall we?
But
Okay.
I'm Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ,
I'm Chuck.
and this is Bamfcast out. Bye, motherfucker. Twitch.tv/NoQuartersNet.
Good night. And good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night and good fight. Stop. Stand. Where are you going, Harlow?
Hmm?
You keep disappearing. Where are you going?
I was bending down to hit stop on the recording.
Okay.
It's down there.
All right. Let's
It's
export this sucker.
Down, it's down. It's down there.
Export as AUG. I'm going to give Chuck an AUG this week.
Please do not send me an AUG or a FLAC.
What about an AAC?
That's fine. I can work with that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really think I have a logical way I can tell people I've watched like 60 hours of Craig Ferguson clips on YouTube. But that's where I've been spending a lot of my time, especially during the middle of the day. Just have that on the background.
Yeah. I can't, right now, I can't watch a movie during work because I'm too busy hating everything about the entire universe. So yeah,
Same.
it's a lot of YouTube. I just keep finding, about once a month I find a channel and watch, all 358 days of their content. And
Well,
I'm
not
watching
sure
a
if
lot
it,
of this guy who buys pallets of broken video game consoles and is just like, I'm gonna fix all these consoles, and
is that Tronics Fix?
might be
Steve?
yeah
He's got a real, fake ass affected.
yes
Yep, that's
Yeah,
Steve with Tronics.
He's very much doing a game show host voice.
100%. Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah, it's great because 85% of what he bought are this is fine. I don't know what the problem is with this. And then he opens one and bed bugs fly out of it.
That never happens to anybody else who does that.
No.
Just the YouTube guys.
Yeah.
Although, okay, so he just did a Q&A video not too long ago, and he's like, I love being an entrepreneur. What I really love is making businesses. I love to make a business, and I'm so glad that I've made a business out of my YouTube channel. I'm like, motherfucker, I've been watching this channel because I thought you just like really liked fixing shit. I thought that was a thing that you enjoyed, and you built a business out of
No.
this cool thing. No, this guy's just a fucking guy who's out there to make money. And
Yeah.
okay, fine, we're all out there to make money so that we can exist. But the way he's presented everything up until that point was that he's just earnestly just a plucky dude. And no, he's his wife makes enough money that he could be a stay-at-home dad and fuck off with this in his spare time. And it's like, oh, look, I can make a bunch of money off of this. Cool. Just the fucking privilege of it.
I feel like so many
the
of
audacity.
Yeah, I feel like so many of the bad movie podcasts that popped up shortly after we did were all like that, where it was like, I bet I can make some money off this podcast thing. And then, and then eventually it was like, oh, wait, no, you don't make any money off doing a podcast. You better like what you're doing. And,
Yep. So true.
yeah, it's sad. At least we like what we do most of the time.
I hope we get to do it again.
Someday.
Oh, do you think that it's going away? Like we're not going to be able to podcast anymore for some reason?
No, he means like actually watching the movies together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Actually doing the Bamcast again.
Yeah, like the proper
Yeah.
show.
Yeah. I would
That
like
would
to
be
do
nice.
it again.
Yeah, but my YouTube hole and Craig Ferguson went much deeper when I realized there's a channel that just has like entire episodes uploaded. Like,
Oh, nice.
yeah, because he had like he made like 1,600 episodes of the Late Late Show, I think, or something like that.
He was there a while.
Yeah, and I would say there's like
And nobody knew.
there's probably like a third, maybe close to a half of them are on YouTube in this one channel.
Wow.
Like it's a lot. Like, and it's weird because it's like every season it's like it doubles like the previous season. Like they're just collecting like old episodes from wherever. But yeah, it's funny
Nice.
shit.
I'm just enjoying listening to music again at work.
That's nice.
I didn't have that for 2 years. So now it's like, what's in my Discover Weekly on Spotify? Got to find out. And I end up liking like 3 songs out of the 50 they give me.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I really enjoyed the streaming that I did this weekend. I like doing that when the rest of my life isn't trying to destroy
Fuck
my
with
mental
you.
health. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like when I have the energy, I'm not wiped out by a day of
Fuckery.
fuckery. Yeah, that's the nicest way you could put it.
When you haven't gotten grudged.
Right. When I haven't gotten grudged by work. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I really, really wish that I could make time for that more. Like,
Yeah, how was the Elite thing when suddenly a whole bunch of people showed up? Like, what's the story? Like, did a guy did you know him or?
no. Well, okay, so I think I know who he is. I think he's a guy that's in my squadron, but I don't think he knows that I'm
That guy.
that guy. Yeah, I don't think he knows that, like, because he's not. I don't think he's in the Discord. So there's a Discord for the squadron. It's funny. I think a bunch of them are really shitty people now that I've gotten to know them. But
Well, hope they don't watch the
Anyway.
live stream.
yeah, they don't. Don't worry. But yeah, I don't think he's in Discord, but I'm pretty sure he's in the squadron. Because his Twitch name is pretty close to his commander name, his handle in Elite. But it was just like he had been streaming, and he was looking for somebody. Like some people do this. I don't really do it because I don't want to. Well, I don't have any viewers anyway usually, but like some people will just look through the directory of people playing games that they're playing and look and see who's online and who looks like they might be interesting, and we'll just throw a raid out. And it was like 3:30, and I was like, man, I gotta wrap it up. I need to get to bed. I'm fucking tired. I was yawning. And then all of a sudden I get the fucking notification that 27 new people are here. And I was like,
All right.
okay, well,
Listen, Jabroni, some time for a show.
yep. And put on my big boy pants and entertain for a little bit. But most of the people didn't say a fucking word, but he was really nice. He answered a bunch of questions that I had about Elite because I don't know everything yet. And he was the only one of his raiding party to follow, but it was still good for the metrics, I guess. But
Yeah, because I saw the Streamlabs. Yeah, I saw that spike and I was like, what the fuck happened? What on earth happened at 3:30 in the morning?
yeah, right.
So
It was weird.
That's when the
I wasn't
elite,
even gonna
elite
stream,
cast
I just,
becomes the
like-
Jack and Cast.
Yeah,
IRL.
all of a sudden. If there
I
was
just
a-
like
ASMR jacking
Yeah,
cats.
it's the just jacking part on Twitch.
oh, one of the things that he said was the reason that he picked one of the reasons that he picked my stream is because of the Labor Day weekend title.
Oh.
He thought that was clever. So, good job, whoever of us came
Congratulations.
up with that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Who
we,
did?
We workshopped it, right?
I'm pretty sure we workshopped
we
it
just
together.
all blurred.
I know it got like stupider and stupider because we were like, play for Plave.
Yeah,
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 Flavor
because we were
Flav.
gonna get Flavor Flav to do a cameo.
yeah. We were like, how much does this cameo cost? Yeah, boy. Come check out. No quarters.
Well,
Play
at least
video
I can say
games.
I had absolutely no part in naming any of it.
Okay.
You're a busy man,
Unfortunately.
busy with all your. I assume you still have projects. Constantly. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to side the house.
What? Didn't you
Reside
just
the
side
house.
that?
You
Didn't you
decided
just?
it already.
No, we've only done the garage and the back. We got the rest of the house. I have to do the ones with windows. Those are going to be fun.
Oh.
Yeah, I've only done areas that don't have windows. So, yeah, not looking forward to that part of it. That's my life.
I recommend not doing it.
Yeah, you should pay the guy.
I can't do that anymore. Remember, I lost that job that would allow me to pay people to do that shit for me.
Well, you didn't do it when you had the job either. You,
That's a good point.
yeah.
Because I also like to keep that money. There's something I like about having that money.
It's soon to
Well,
be
you're not
worth. It's soon to
spending
be
any of it.
worthless. I mean, just get rid of those pieces of paper. They don't mean
Yeah,
anything
just
anymore.
Yeah,
give
I
them
know.
away.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
probably
guys.
should.
Yep.
All right, man.
Going to bed.
Good night.
Good night, Chuck. Sleep
Thank you
tight.
for sending me files.